Morning television has always carried with it a promise, a warm, comforting space where the day begins not with conflict, but with laughter, banter, and familiar cheer. The formula is simple and dependable, with hosts greeting the nation with bright smiles, a roster of celebrity guests sharing lighthearted anecdotes, and a studio audience clapping on cue, reinforcing the illusion that everything in the world is just a little sunnier in the morning. On the day Prince Harry was scheduled to appear on This Morning, the formula should have worked as smoothly as ever. Few guests come with a higher profile or bigger headlines than a royal, who walked away from the institution that defined him. For producers, it was supposed to be gold. For viewers, it was expected to be an honest but easy conversation, a peek into life in California, fatherhood, perhaps some mentions of charity work and upcoming projects. But live television is unpredictable, and that day, the moment Harry walked into the studio, something in the air shifted. What began as an ordinary interview unraveled into one of the most uncomfortable segments daytime TV had witnessed in years. The studio buzzed with the usual energy of a live broadcast. Cameras glided smoothly across the polished floor. Lighting rigs bathed the stage in a soft glow, and the audience sat in carefully arranged rows, sipping complimentary coffee as they waited for the show to begin. Alison Hammond, beloved for her warmth and infectious laugh, looked her usual radiant self. Dermot O'Leary, calm and composed, shuffled his cue cards with quiet focus. "Big guest today," one producer whispered in the wings. There was an air of expectation, not just from the team but from everyone present. Harry was a figure who guaranteed headlines. Admired or criticized, he was never ignored. When Alison looked into the camera with her trademark sparkle and announced, "Today we have a very special guest joining us, someone you all know, someone whose life has been more public than most," the audience responded with eager applause. The stage was set, the script prepared, the atmosphere primed for charm. Then Harry walked in. He was dressed in a sharp, dark, tailored suit, but without a tie, the collar of his shirt slightly open. It was a look that balanced formality with casual rebellion, a nod to his royal past but also to the independence he now claimed. His wave to the audience was small, brief, more ritual than genuine warmth. His expression said more. His jaw was tight, his brow furrowed. His eyes scanned the set with the weariness of a man bracing himself for battle. "Harry, it's lovely to have you here," Alison began warmly. "How are you feeling this morning?" It was the simplest of questions, but Harry's response was anything but routine. "Well, Alison, I suppose I'm feeling the same way I always do. Surrounded by people who want to ask questions they think they already know the answers to." The audience laughed awkwardly. Alison's smile faltered for only a second before she recovered. Dermot, however, raised his eyebrows. It was the first sign this interview would not follow the usual script. "Oh, we're just excited to chat with you," Alison tried again. "Tell us, how's life in California? Settling in with Meghan and the kids?" Harry's reply was sharp. "California is fine. At least there I'm not hounded every waking moment by the British press. Or," he added, glancing at Dermot, "by television presenters looking for their next headline." The air thickened. Dermot responded evenly. "We're not looking for headlines, Harry, just giving viewers a chance to hear from you directly. Surely that's something you value, considering how often you've said the press misrepresents you." Harry smirked. "Yes, well, the difference is, Dermot, I can usually choose who I speak to. Today, apparently, I didn't have that luxury." Alison jumped in, determined to smooth things over. "Oh, come now, Harry. Everyone watching at home wants to hear about your projects, your life, and of course your family." "How are Archie and Lilibet doing?" Harry sighed. "They're fine. Perfect, in fact. But every time someone asks me about my children on live television, I wonder, are you genuinely interested or are you fishing for a soundbite? Because if it's the latter, I'll save us all the trouble and say they're wonderful. Full stop." Alison kept her composure. "We are genuinely interested, Harry. You're a father, after all, and many of our viewers are parents too. It's a connection point." Harry leaned forward, his tone sharper. "A connection point. Alison, you don't know me. You don't know my children. And you don't know what it's like to live under the constant shadow of a monarchy that dictates everything about your existence. So forgive me if I don't see this as a cozy little chat." Gasps rippled through the audience. Dermot leaned forward, his voice firmer. "Harry, with all due respect, you did agree to be here. And when public figures come on This Morning, the idea is to have an open conversation. That's not about intrusion. It's about honesty with the public who followed your journey. Harry's eyes narrowed. Honesty? Don't lecture me about honesty, Dermot. I've been forced to live honestly every single day while the press twists everything I say and do. If anything, this is just another circus performance. I'm the show pony, and you're the handlers making sure I trot out the right lines. Allison quickly smiled at the cameras. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with Prince Harry. The cameras cut to commercial. The atmosphere remained charged. Crew members avoided eye contact. The audience murmured. On the sofa, Harry sat stiff and defiant, arms crossed. Dermot shuffled his notes with sharp precision. Allison sipped water, steadying herself for round 2. When the show returned, Allison forced brightness into her voice. We're joined today by Prince Harry talking about life, family, and his new projects. Harry, let's dive into your latest charity work. You've been involved with some incredible organizations in California, right? Harry nodded slowly. Yes, though I imagine the specifics aren't of much interest to your viewers. People here prefer the gossip, don't they? Allison pressed gently. I think our viewers are genuinely curious about the positive work you're doing. Harry smirked. Curious, perhaps, but not committed. Charity work doesn't make headlines. My private life does. That's why I'm sitting here, isn't it? Dermot intervened. To be fair, many people are interested in the work you do. We try to give balance. Talk about your projects, but also about the things the public wants to know. That's the nature of live television, Harry scoffed. Balance? No, Dermot. Balance would mean focusing on substance, not trying to trip me up with questions about my wife and children. Dermot's patience was thinning. I don't think asking about your family is tripping you up, Harry. It's something viewers relate to. You've often spoken about wanting to be a good father. That's something people admire. Harry laughed humorlessly. Admire or scrutinize? Every word I say about my children is dissected, twisted, and now here you are playing the same game. Dermot shifted gears. All right, let's address something else. There's been a lot of talk about your Netflix projects, documentaries, specials. Some reports even suggest disputes over financial demands. Can you tell us more? Harry's eyes narrowed. There it is. The money question, predictable. Dermot kept calm. It's not meant to provoke, Harry. These are public reports. People are curious if there's truth to them. Harry leaned forward. People are curious because the press feeds them lies. And programs like this serve it up on a silver platter. You call it journalism. I call it voyeurism. Allison tried again. Harry, I don't think Dermot meant it like that. He's just asking the questions on people's minds. Harry didn't budge. And maybe people's minds are too small if they're obsessed with whether I negotiated a fair paycheck. Last time I checked, I wasn't the only person in the world trying to provide for his family. There was scattered applause. Dermot pressed. Fair enough, Harry. But you've spoken often about moving away from the monarchy's trappings. Doesn't taking multi-million-dollar deals while criticizing the institution look contradictory to some people? Harry's face hardened. Contradictory? You mean surviving? You mean making a life outside of a gilded cage that crushed my mother and nearly destroyed me? Forgive me if I don't cry into my crown and jewels. The audience gasped. Allison leaned in. Harry, no one's denying your experiences. Dermot is just saying. Harry cut her off. No, Allison. Dermot is insinuating I'm a hypocrite, that I wanted out but still wanted resources to build a life. Newsflash, that's called adapting, refusing to be defined by a broken system. Dermot's composure cracked. Harry, I'm not insinuating anything, but people are watching you criticize the monarchy while enjoying privileges that came from it. That's where the questions come from. Harry's voice was ice. Privileges. Do you think privilege is watching your mother die in a car crash because of the institution's obsession with control? Do you think privilege is being hunted by cameras every single day of your life? Keep your lecture, Dermot. You haven't lived mine. The studio fell silent. Allison tried to interject. Let's not forget we're live. But Dermot spoke low and tight. I respect your pain, Harry, I really do. But there's a difference between sharing your story and sneering at anyone who dares ask a question. This isn't therapy. It's television. Harry smirked. And maybe that's the problem, Dermot. Too much television. Too many people like you pretending to care while digging for drama. Congratulations, you've got it. The air was suffocating. Allison